What up, gamers? We have a patch note rundown for 13.25. It's kind of actually a B patch, but it's just a patch that they are putting up because Riot is about to go on their winter break. So this is like going to be like a 3-week long patch, I think. I don't think we'll get another patch until January. So that is why they're doing another patch here. And it's mostly a buff patch. I was just going to review the notes that Mortdog posted to Twitter because there won't be official notes on the official Teamfight Tactics page for a while, like some pretty nice notes. But Mortdog posted this video, so why don't we just go through here? I'll kind of live react. I'll have this at times 1.5 speed. Mortdog talks a little slow. And I'll give you guys my thoughts on the meta and the changes as we go through. And then also, you know, give you guys somewhat of a meta prediction or give you guys some ideas on some things that you can play on the next patch. So with that out of the way, let's get into it.
Even more going, and then some item and augment adjustments. So with that, let's jump into it and get through this. The first thing, kind of the biggest one here, is that going to 9 shouldn't be a guaranteed 5-cost headliner. That's what level 10's for. Level 9 should be mostly about 100% chance at like 4-cost headliners with a small chance at a 5-cost headliner. So because of that, this looks like a big nerf, and it kind of is, but generally the idea here is that you're not going to be able to force a 5-cost headliner. Now,
yeah, this is a very healthy change for the game. So this doesn't really change like the tempo of the game. So the game right now is, and I think this is what they want, that's why they added level 10. The tempo of the game is that like when you go to level 8 on stage 4 or on 5-1, you're there to take a pit stop to like upgrade your comp a little bit, like to get your 4-cost chosen, maybe get a couple 4-cost onto your board, that sort of thing. It's more of like a pit stop. It's not like how it used to be in past sets where you go to level 8 and that's like the destination where you get all this, you get all these things, you play around all these 4-costs, and then if you want to top 2, you slowly go 9 and then start slotting in legendaries. The game really is built around now that like going level 8 is the same as going like level 6. It's just a pit stop. You take the roll for some stronger units, and then you always go 9. But the problem is that we've been facing right now is that you can't ever play around 4-costs as your main carry because you just take a pit stop to like buy your Zed or whatever, or buy your Caitlyn, and then you go 9 and you open sell your headliner every single game. If you have the gold to do that, you have to do that every game. So the key difference that you guys need to understand here is that you'll no longer open sell on 9. I think the game tempo is still going to be the same. You just take a pit stop on 8 to upgrade your comp a little bit. You still go 9 to look for your legendaries. I think you have to have legendaries in your comp in order to top 2, except for very specific reroll scenarios. So that doesn't really change how you play very much, other than that you don't go to 9 and open sell your chosen. You will do that on level 10 if you can get the level 10. You will not open sell your 4-cost anymore. So
now notice we didn't nerf 5-costs. Still be able to get lots of those, just not the headliner versions.
Yeah.
So this is our way of nerfing level 9 a bit. We do want players to be able to hit level 9 every game. It's not like before. Level 10 is the rare thing. Level 9, you know, every game is fine. But no headliners.
Oh.
All right, on the trait side, Big Shot. Big Shot's a great trait. You can play around Corki, you can play around Ezreal, you can play around Jhin, but you usually only need 2. So we're buffing 4 a little bit and 6 a little bit. So if you want to play around the vertical, you might be able to make it work. But no one's really playing the vertical right now.
Yeah, I still wouldn't play the vertical. It's just kind of hard to play.
Bruiser,
you have to play too many bad units.
Solid, especially
you can play the vertical if you have like a lot of items. You're on like a portal, we have extra items, or buried treasures or something. You build a lot of 80 items. Like I could see that. Other than that, I don't think you should play vertical Big Shot, even if it's buffed.
The early game does fall off a bit, but not a big deal. Bruiser 6, though, no one really plays Bruiser 6. This might tempt you a little bit. Again, going kind of slow on the buffs here. Who knows? Maybe this needs to go even higher, but we don't want to be crazy before the winter break.
Yeah, who cares about Bruiser? Let's be real.
So, EDM.
You know, Olaf is getting buffed. Maybe there'll be like an Olaf build, but I think 1-cost reroll is really hard to play. I'll talk more about that when we get to the Osso part.
Probably the biggest adjustment here as far as traits goes. No one's really playing EDM. You're going to see some adjustments to the champs, but the thing is, Zed's being played, Zac not so much, Jack's not so much, and Lux, eh. So, EDM 3, 4, and 5 are going to be able to do more damage. Pretty big boost, 10.
I think this is a really big buff to Lux. Lux EDM is really good. Like Lux EDM is actually really good if you know how to position. If you know some like cool itemization, like you build like kind of like defensive items on Zed plus an Infinity Edge, like you like BT Edge of Night Infinity Edge, and like that dude is one-shotting. Like he's actually killing tanks in the front line with that build. In EDM builds, like as long as you have 1 crowd diver or 2 crowd diver for him, like he'll actually kill one of the tanks and potentially one-shot a backliner with Lux's spell. It's kind of like if you can keep those guys alive and you get vertical EDM, if you get EDM Lux chosen, and you're uncontested, it's actually really good. Especially if you're healthy when you go into a Lux chosen, maybe on stage 3 or early parts of stage 4. If you're healthy, that's usually a guaranteed top 4. And if you can get your Lux 3 or just get the comp fully upgraded and go 9 or whatever, it's usually a top 2. Just the tempo, the mid-game tempo you get from that is so good. And with this buff on EDM, like really look out for that. I don't think this makes Jax good. Jax is just not good. And then Zed, they are also buffing Zac in this patch, and we'll talk more about that, I guess, when we get there. But this is actually a big deal because currently when you play Zed, the best version of Zed, the best amount of EDMs to play with Zed is 0. You just want to play just Zed. And that is largely because Zac is dog shit. Like he is just a worthless tank. He doesn't even cast with items sometimes. Unless he's chosen, he has 3 items, but then you're just wasting your headliner on Zac. But Zac is getting a big buff along with the EDM stuff. So, be looking out for that. Be looking out. I think you can actually play Zed EDM builds now, but I really think the Lux version, even though Lux wasn't changed, I think just with the spell number change, I think it's actually a build that's already pretty good. And you guys should be looking to play it sometimes.
10% each at 3 and 4. 5 gets a 5% boost. 5 was already kind of the one that was like, okay. And then if you choose to sample, already probably one of the better ones, same with Lux. But Mosher in the early to mid game with Urgot, pretty good. Other than that, not really playing it. So Mosher 4.
They also buffed Mosher. Maybe there'll be some... I think if you have a high roll Jax scenario, like you can make it work. I've played some reroll Jax and actually some decent UO when I was like grinding a little bit harder earlier this set. I don't know. Jax is just hard to make work. I feel like you had a really, really high roll to build. I think this is more important for Gnar. Like Gnar reroll is pretty solid if you can get it early on or get it rampant early on in the game. So look out for the Gnar builds when you have the angle, but you don't force that. You really have to have the angle for Gnar, like the frontline 80 carry items like Stair XBT +1, and then
4 and Mosher 6 get some more attack speed, help them out. Rapid fire, same thing. Rapid fire is great at 2. Everyone loves rapid fire 2. You get that 10% attack speed for your team, and that's it. So buffing.
Guys, don't play vertical rapid fire. Same thing with Big Shot. I think maybe you can play it if you have like loads of carry items, like you're on a weird. You have some weird augments that give you that, but other than that, man, just don't.
4 a little bit and 6 a good chunk. Honestly, it might need even more than this, but again, winter break, go slow. Spellweaver 5 basically wasn't actually a thing. You would level for 15 AP. That wasn't really great. So we're making the AP per cast going from 112 to 123.
You know what this helps out a lot? The KDA line a lot. I think the KDA line is really good. I think with this change, because basically right now, like if you think about playing, like exactly what Mort said, if you think about playing from 4 or 5 Spellweaver, 4 is not even a trait. It goes from 3 to 5 is the actual vertical. But like a lot of times you just end up playing 4 because like playing 5 is worthless. Like you just play 4 because like, I don't know, you're playing Seraphine for KDA or something. So keep an eye out for like Seraphine Chosen, and you just built like Seraphine Spellweaver Chosen or Lulu Spellweaver Chosen, especially Seraphine, her Chosen ability is pretty good, where you just don't even have to 3-star her. You just go like Spear of Sojin and she's your Morello holder. Spear of Sojin, Morello, and then like a Shiv. Like she's just like that person who gives your team a lot of utility. I think when you have those angles and you have those items built, definitely look out for that because it is such... It's like really good tempo in the mid game, the Seraphine Chosen, if you have like that type of setup. And then just those items on her just make her like her utility is so strong. If you can do that into an Arya Kali build with Spellweaver, I think that sounds pretty solid. So look out for that and look out for some Lulu Chosens in the mid game. And if you just hit an Ari 2-star without having to open your headliner, like Lulu Chosen can be great for that. Same with Seraphine, So look out for that. I think that opens up those possibilities a little bit.
This is a buff to 5 and 7, but again, this is one. There's a few players that make like an early Vi work through stage 2, but she's weighing down Punk pretty hard. She's weighing down Mosher, and she's just not very exciting. So again, going a little slow here. Don't want to go crazy, but she'll be able to cast more often, more punches, more stuns, and she'll be a little tankier. Yasuo is another one. This one's kind of debatable because at low.
So let's talk about 1-cost reroll a little bit. Like 1-cost reroll is like the biggest 8th or 3rd. Like you're going 3rd or 8th. And the reason is because getting to 9 is so valuable. And if you have to sit there and roll all of your gold on stage 3, like you're just not getting the 9 most games. It's really, really, really tough. Like you just don't gain enough tempo in the mid game playing 1-cost rerolls, even if they're really strong. I think the only time you should play 1-cost rerolls, and maybe this will change, maybe like things will get really strong, I don't know. But I really think the only time you should play 1-cost reroll is like you're absurdly high rolling. Like you just start the game with 6 copies. Like you start the game with the Chosen and 3. Or you like start the game with the Chosen and you have Stars Are Born. Like I think it's really hard and like perfect itemization. I've played a lot of Corki reroll because Corki is actually pretty good. And like every time I play Corki, even if I start the game with 6 copies of Corki, if I don't hit that Corki 3 really easily, Like if I don't have some econ augment that's making me do it, or like the refresh galaxy augments, like, man, it is the fastest eighth sometimes when I play that. Like I just feel like upset playing one cost reroll. So man, I don't know. Like I think you only play these one cost rerolls from absurd high roll positions. This Gragas change is interesting because they are buffing Zach, they are buffing the vertical and bruiser, they are buffing Olaf. Maybe there's going to be some chug jug builds, like actual chug jug Gragas bruiser disco builds. Like I don't know, that could be complete fantasy. But maybe, man, like same thing I was saying, it's just really hard to reroll some of these 1 and 2 cost reroll comps. But yeah, maybe if you're high rolling Olaf and the 6 bruiser is really that strong, I don't know. Like look out for that, but I wouldn't bank on that. The Kale change is interesting to me because so reroll Crowd Diver with Yone and Edgewards is actually really good. I mean, everybody should know that by now. But it's more the Crowd Diver side of it, and then Kale like sometimes can pop off. I think this change actually is pretty significant for Kale. Like I like playing these Edgeward reroll lines, so I'm really happy about this buff. Look out for like the Edgeward reroll. Like a lot of times when you play Yone, you only take the Crowd Diver. I mean, you can take the Edgeward one, it's fine, but look out for those reroll Edgelord angles. Also, look out for like Mordekaiser comps where you get like Mordekaiser chosen, you have Kale on your backline. Like that kind of opens up the door to some of that like 3-cost reroll stuff. I actually really like 3-cost reroll. I think it's really fun. So look out for Kale in the Edgelord and Mordekaiser lines. Also, Twitch is interesting. I could see if you get Punk Twitch chosen, or Executioner Twitch chosen, I could see people rerolling this more often. I know there's a Chinese build where you do some weird stuff. They are buffing Vi, they're buffing Twitch, they're buffing his AD ratio, which helps the Punk line because Punk directly gives you AD. This is actually pretty significant. So I don't know. Look out for Twitch builds. Maybe this is like enough to take him over the top. I'm not sure. All right, let's get on to the forecast.
Really happy with the tankiness. We're not planning on making him that much tankier, or her that much tankier, but she should be able to deal a little bit more damage, take advantage of her Mosher a little bit. So spell gets buffed, small amount here.
You know, I'm pretty surprised at a Poppy buff. Now, Poppy has, as Mort's saying, has trouble killing units, but Poppy is like such a great unit to go 9 on. Like when you're doing your roll down, especially with frontline AD carry items being pretty good. If you're doing your roll down, you're looking for Zed or you're looking for a Viego or something like that, and you're going to play, I don't know, Pentakill or a Crowd Diver comp. When you're rolling for that and you get an early Poppy on your roll down, like you take that Poppy because that Poppy is a ticket to go to 9 if you're in a healthy spot. Like if you don't need a full commit on 8. So I'm pretty surprised she's getting buffed, and they're buffing the Mosher line. This actually does help out Mosher reroll a lot. So if you guys like high roll Jax reroll or high roll Gnar reroll, which I don't think those comps are very good, it actually has really good mid game tempo. But the problem with Mosher line is nobody can take you home. You know, like the Jax falls off, the Gnar falls off, and Poppy can't take you home. So actually, I think that Mosher reroll line got buffed a lot. Actually, yeah. Look out for that. Look out for the Mosher reroll angle. We could be going into a 2 and 3 cost reroll angle or reroll meta. Because they're making headliners not as easy to choose on 9, right? You don't open sell on 9 anymore, and 2 and 3 cost reroll don't prevent you from going 9. That's why, like, I think 3 cost reroll. I think 1 cost reroll is bad because it prevents you from going 9. But you can actually make it to 9 when you reroll 2 and 3 costs because you only take those angles whenever you get like the headliner and you already have some copies and you have like perfect itemization or you have like a perfect setup for like you don't just like play Mosher Gnar unless you have like a really good setup for it. So. Man, I actually think we could be going into a 2 and 3 cost reroll meta. Yeah, look out for that, man. That actually really just dawned on me. Yeah, this Mosher line is a lot stronger now.
Nothing crazy. Zach, this is a big buff. Champ's pretty bad.
I don't include Gragas in that. That's just a complete shot in the dark that Chug Jug will be good. I don't think Chug Jug's actually going to be good, but that Mosher line is actually looking a lot better.
100 more HP and a 30 mana off. So Zach's going to be able to cast the spell more often. This was the best way, though. We can't really buff the spell directly.
Yeah, this is a great buff because, yeah, this dude is worthless. Like, this dude is absolutely worthless. But now he'll actually cast. Like, my Zach always, like, even with items, he, like, starts his cast and then dies. Like, he dies before even completing his cast. Like, this is great. Yeah, this is really, with the EDM change, really opens up Zed comps a lot more. And, again, Zach is the preferred tank in the Mosher line. If you're rerolling Moshers, when you're rerolling Gnar, Set, Urgot, and Jax, Zach is the tank that you add. So I think if you're high rolling Moshers, man, yeah, they're buffing this Mosher line a lot.
Because if we do, then sampling Zac will always be the best EDM build. We don't really want to do that, but we do want to make sure that you can, play Zac if you want in like a bruiser comp. Hold items till that you find that allow the on hit damage. A good chunk here at 1 and 2 star. So honestly, it'll probably still be the.
Yeah, I think you still go on. I think you still go the on hit Sona. She just won't deal that much damage, but she'll give your team so much attack speed. Yeah, I still think he's probably the best one still.
Best one, but
Sona's still going to be good.
Basically, we went through our data, went through Vegas, and it was like headliners. People aren't buying, aren't playing, aren't doing well. Nami 5 AP buff, cool. Olaf extra HP. This should make Olaf headliner pretty good in the early game. Hopefully comparable to things like Lily and Kennen.
Yeah, I'm actually going to strongly consider picking up Olaf headliner when I have those 80 items right now. Basically, right now in the early game, if you have the frontline 80 carry items, the only headliners you take are Evelynn and Yasuo. So I actually will strongly consider taking Olaf. Especially Gragas got buffed.
To go like Vi carry these builds with the headliner might be a little more interesting. Gragas.
And Vi got buffed. Maybe Vi is takeable. I'm not sure about Vi.
DR, find that early Gragas, play around him.
Vi is just like so far from the meta, it's really hard for me to read.
Maybe even play a 3-star Gragas headliner. Pantheon, a little more HP. We're finding generally that tanks aren't performing as well, other than like the early game, so trying to give tanks a little bit of an option here. Riven, 100 more HP as a headliner. Cool if you want to play Riven headliner. Blitzcrank, 50 more HP. Poppy, 50 more HP, 5% more AD. So Poppy headliner with that emo and Mosher should be fun.
Dude, Poppy headliner is so good. Like, dude, this Poppy headliner on stage 5 or on stage 4 and stage 5, man, this is the ticket to 9. Holy crap! Holy Poppy headliner is gonna be so. My God, that's gonna be so good.
Thresh, this is a big one, but Thresh is getting 150.
Oh my God!
So again, headliner Thresh if you're willing to play. That
I'm just kind of shocked about these Poppy buffs. Oh my God.
Comp or a country comp should be able to take advantage of that. Kiana, the one headliner getting nerfed, 5% AD per item copy was a little nuts.
Yeah.
If you hit that really early, it went out of control pretty quick.
It's crazy.
Games where people were seeing 140, 160% AD.
It's crazy, man.
That's too much. So we're going to lower that down to 2% AD on that.
Man, I can't wait to play this patch. It's actually going to be fun. I've been kind of taking a break from playing. Not because the game is terrible. I've just kind of been doing other things in my life. Just been covering the game, playing the game casually, but covering the game professionally. You know what I'm saying? Like still watching gameplay and stuff, but I might actually play a lot this next patch.
Copy. So now those games
looks kind of fun.
60, 70% extra AD, which is great, but maybe not, 160. And then Ziggs, the 5 mana reduction was weird because often you want to build like Shojin or stuff like him. So we went with 15 so that Shojin fits really well with Ziggs. But we're happy after the nerf where the bombs weren't scaling as fast, stuff like that.
Yeah, and remember that you can't get these headliners on 9 anymore, basically.
On the augment side, all of the training dummy augments are overperforming, so we are having to nerf training dummies again.
Yep.
We're getting 10 less armor and MR.
Very good.
On the silver side, cutting corners, way too good. Loses one.
Yeah, this needed a nerf on before the set launched.
XP, it might be bad now. If it is, we'll buff it, but wanted to get this nerf in quick to kind of make sure it wasn't just the best silver in the game. On a roll has also fallen.
I don't think this is bad. Like I still think this augment is very takeable.
So now it's going to give you 1 more gold, and you can trigger it 1 more time each turn.
Ooh,
so it should make it good for reroll costs.
2 and 3 cost reroll, looking kind of good, fellas.
Especially at 1 cost. Vampirism, a little too good. Didn't want to nerf the Omni Vamp yet, so
I think 1 cost reroll is just too hard to play. Personally,
going to nerf the HP.
Gotta have the best setup.
Bigger shot. Now that we fixed the bug, it's pretty bad. So buffing it 10%.
Yeah.
Blinged out, little too good for true damage.
Yeah, true damage vertical is really good. Like you can just play Senna 2, and because you have the Akali can take you home now. They used to have that problem that Akali couldn't take you home. Similar thing to the Mosher. Like Poppy couldn't take you home to play Mosher. So yeah,
we're not nerfing true damage at all, but true damage really caps out when they get this augment. So having less health going to be good here. Inspiring up top.
I have nothing to say about these.
Gold, you're basically at normal max, so should be solid. Now should be pretty good because the interest cap will be 3 in attack.
Wait.
Should still be pretty good. Low interest rates. This augment pretty bad here. Now should be pretty good because the interest cap will be 3, which means if you have 30 gold, you're basically at normal max. Dude,
I think this augment's actually pretty good. I think people are just really bad at playing like a psycho. I think when you take low interest rates, you kind of have to play sort of like how you play when you take any of Draven's augments from last set. When you take Spoils of War, you got to play like a psycho. And it's just good for top 4ing. So if you read the data, it won't have good data because some people are taking it and not playing like a psycho. And so then they go bot 4. And then the people who do play like a psycho, it's very hard the top 2. So I actually think this augment is good. And I think it'd be honestly, I will insta take this every game now. I really like this augment. I like playing like a psycho.
Max, so should be solid. Stars are born. Love this augment. It's pretty bad right now. 4 more gold to help it out. 3's a crowd. Really close.
Like you get, this gives you such insane tempo. I don't think they should have buffed this, honestly.
Balanced, but just 5 HP off should help it. Too big to fail. This is the brute.
So Stars Are Born is like the one time that you can play 1 cost rerolls. So if you get this offered, I would strongly recommend taking this. If you are down to play 1 cost reroll.
Explosion one, Going to try to buff it a pretty good chunk here, actually, see if there's some cool Bruiser Explosion builds, but it's pretty bad in the data right now. And then finally, Stationary Support 2 and 3 are no longer able to roll Needlessly Big Gem. If you got this at 2-1, your win rate skyrocketed. It was definitely the best roll at 2-1 by a significant margin. Now, the obvious question here people have been asking is, what about Stationary Support 1? Stationary Support 1 doesn't happen until much later in the game, 3-2, 3-3. So, honestly, it's okay if it rolls Needlessly Big Gem. It's really about 2-1. If we had more time, maybe it's, only won't appear at 2-1 or something like that. But yeah, it just, at 2-1, this was way too good. So, all right. This is some of the biggest stuff here. Probably the most meta shifting, if you will.
Yeah, blue buff was bugged the entire time. I'll let him explain it, though.
Blue buff now also gives 20% AD. That means it's 20 AP, 20 AD. This means champions like Jhin, Ezreal, Kai'Sa can use this item. Not feel bad compared to Shojin. Should give it more users than just Ahri in the set. So it's now a mana item. We also bug fixed the bug where the damage amp wasn't refreshing properly on kill. Because of that, we did nerf it, so it goes down from 15% to 10%. And you can see the radiant values also here. But generally, this should make blue buff a bit more of a flexible item that you can play around with.
Yeah, you can actually build it now, probably. I mean, Sojin's still going to be better because the high mana values on so many units. But hey, look out. This is going to be great on Ezreal.
Variety of builds. Gargoyle Stoneplate, learning our lesson from the previous set, we don't need to buff the armor and MR per target, but 5 more base armor and MR shouldn't really be too crazy.
Yeah.
It's a decent pick. Red buff.
It's very hard to build this item.
Great item. A little too great. Just 5% attack speed off.
Yeah, this item's broken. This is the best item in the game, red buff.
Nothing too big. Hurricane we like, but players aren't really enjoying it. They aren't finding a ton of success with it. So 5% more AD should help it as a flat AD.
Dude, if you can build this in the early game, you have like a quirky chosen opener. Like, dude, the tempo you get from building this item is really insane.
The item if you need more AD on your champion.
Yeah, man, this actually makes fast 90 a lot easier with a lot of the backline AD carry 1-cost chosens. Be looking out for that. If you have the angle to build this item and you think you could go fast 9, really look at that.
Finally, this is probably the biggest change. Spear of Shojin. Currently, it gives 25 AD and AP, combined with the fact that lots of champions like it, and it was giving a ton of stats. It was the most built item in the game by a significant margin, and too good for how much it was built. So it is going to go down to 20 AD and AP. This should make it still a good item, maybe not just the best item that you should always slam on like 80% of the champions.
Yeah, strongly consider building blue buff now. So actually,
bit of a nerf there. And that's it. That's the entire patch. It's not, like I said, not a big patch. And again, part of this is that we've shipped a set that was in a pretty good state.
All right, in synopsis, guys, like my bold prediction for the patch, that monster line got buffed a lot. One thing I definitely think everybody should be very aware of is how strong Poppy Headliner is for going 9. If you get Poppy Headliner offered and you have items to play her, be very willing to play her. Be very willing to play her. And then you can go 9, and then you can maybe open sell and then look, because you don't have to find a legendary. Like if you're looking for Zed and you get Poppy, you should take Poppy if you're in a healthy spot to go 9. Like 100%. And then you can go 9 and then sell and look for Zed or something like that if you want to play some Zed comp. Guys, really look out for Zach. Zach is back. I think Zach is actually a good tank now. He seems worthless before. And my bold prediction for the patch is that we're in a 2 and 3 cost reroll meta. That is my bold prediction. They nerfed, you can't really get legendary chosens on 9, so there won't be like loads of Ziggs and Jhin chosens on 5-1, and like your 3-cost and 2-cost comp can't keep up. Like really look out for this stuff. And I think there's a lot of 1-cost rerolls that are viable. Like you also, and maybe Olaf, if you really high roll, like you get Stars Are Born and you already have like 5 copies, like if you're in a really high roll spot, I think you can do that. I just think it's really hard to play 1-cost rerolls because you can't go 9 most of the time. But 2 and 3-cost rerolls, really look out for that stuff like Kayle, Edgelord, Mordekaiser with Kayle backline. What else we got going on? Anything else kind of crazy with like that? Like I think Edgelord reroll could be really good this patch. I think look out for that Mosher line like Jax when you're really high rolling it, because if Poppy is strong enough to take you home, that actually makes that the tempo of that comp very good. It makes it a lot better, because basically even if you have a Jax 3, like you fall off like on 4-3, like you fall off really hard. But if you can move into Poppy, that actually opens it up a little bit. And then Zed builds I think can change now. I still think six crowd diver is the best version of Zed probably, but look out for Zed with EDMs. Like you might actually, because Zach is actually good, so you'll actually play some EDMs with Zed. Basically right now you do not play EDMs with Zed, but I mean they're buffing it a lot. And then Lux, I think Lux is actually be really good if you can tempo into Lux. Like it's so good mid game, and then if you can get vertical EDM and then you can get good defensive itemization on Zed and Jax, man, it actually kind of pops off. Like I actually really like that. I think it's like a guaranteed top 4 if you get Lux in the mid game. And then if you can just get the whole comp online, it's usually a guaranteed top 2 if you go into that comp from a healthy spot. Look out for Seraphine Chosens into just like vertical KDA, vertical. Like you don't need the 3-star. You just build Spear of Sojin and a Morello, and her headliner bonus is really good. And you could just take that and then go into Ari and Akali, which they'll take you home. Like you don't even have to reroll. So look out for that. I will definitely be taking some more Seraphine Chosens in the mid game. Basically right now I don't take it. So that's pretty interesting. But anyways, guys, that's a meta prediction. See you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy this patch. It'll be a long one. I'm actually going to play this patch probably. Been kind of taking a break from playing. But this patch looks really fun. See ya, goobers.